Today, I'm bringing guys a brand new sports cards video. In today's video, we have yet another episode of the hottest sports cards on the market right now. Now, before we get into that, I did want to say a little bit about our membership program because our high roller, ultra high-end membership program has been on fire. We've had a lot of big hits. One of them being on August 8th with us recommending Steph Curry's Topps Chrome Refractors for just around $90,000 in a PSA 10, $15,000 in a PSA 8, and $30,000 in a PSA 9. The PSA 10 last sold for $228,000 in January and is estimated to be roughly $235,000 right now. So that is a big lick, $145,000 in profit for my members who bought the PSA 10s of these, and the PSA 9s and 8s haven't had a sale, but are estimated to be a lot higher than they are when I recommended them. And on top of that, our BGS 9.5 in April, we recommended for $40,000, and the BGS 9.5, I believe, last sold for $65,000 and was as high as $93,000 since we recommended it. So if you guys have a little bit bigger of a budget and want to join the ultra high-end membership, the link is down below. But if you have a smaller budget, we have plenty of options that are also doing very well. So you can click the link down below. We have, memberships that fit all budgets. So whether you have $10 or $10,000 or $100,000, we have something for you. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and hop right into this video. So the first card that we really want to talk about is Tom Brady. Of course, he has come out of retirement, as I personally predicted, but there's, of course, no one really knew. So this news is really starting to really affect the market. And we've seen after his retirement, his Bowman Chrome PSA 8 base go down to around $2,500. And with the recent news, we've seen some very strong sales as high as $3,600. So I think it's going to be very important to watch over the next few days what happens to Tom Brady, the rest of Tom Brady's cards. If you're able to snag one for this same price of a different variation, of the dip price of a different variation that hasn't rebounded yet, I highly recommend buying them because I believe all of his cards are going to rebound before next season starts. So we see it with this Bowman Chrome, but there are a lot of his cards that have yet to go up and have yet to really react to the news. So there's a lot of room that you can make money with if you are patient and you can find those cards that haven't gone up yet. I believe there's certain ones, such as a Skybox, that are still roughly the same price. So if you can get some of these around that $1,700, $1,600 mark, that could be a big sale because I think the next few sales are going to come up as high as $2,300 to $2,400. So I think it's definitely very smart to look into some of his other cards and see if you can find some undervalued ones that haven't really reacted to the news yet, because there's always a delay in the market for certain cards. His Bowman Chrome's going to react immediately, but some of his other cards are going to take a little bit longer. So I definitely recommend you guys always take a look and see if you can find some cards, even if they're higher end, such as this SB Authentic BGS 9.5. If you can get that around the $33,000 mark, I think the true value of it right now is probably closer to $38,000, considering the 20% increase in most of his cards. Now, without further ado, we're hopping right into the next card that is on fire, and that is Jayson Tatum, and there is not much to be said here. We have seen some very strong sales recently, given Jayson Tatum's incredible performances. The Celtics are really climbing up the standings. The East is really tight for their top few spots. They're only, I believe, 4 or 4.5 games behind. As I'm recording this, they're only around 4 games behind first seed. So I think it's a great time to be buying these. They were as low as $513. Last 2 sales have come in at $623 and $750. So we're seeing some great growth here, and rightfully so. Jayson Tatum's definitely a young star who has been performing. So I think that's definitely a great time to start to take a look at some of his other cards that haven't gone up and haven't had this big jump, because they will likely have it soon. Now, without further ado, We're hopping right into the next pick, and that is 2019 Prizm Basketball Hobby Boxes. You may be wondering why these are going up now, because these are essentially reacting to Ja Morant's incredible performances. Ja Morant is really turning into a big star in this league, and I think a lot of the boxes, as I recommended to my members to buy these, because a lot of these boxes take a little bit longer to react to players' performances. Ja Morant's cards, as soon as he does well, start to go up. But these boxes can take a while for demand to really reach it, because this box right now, I'm telling you, is being driven by Ja Morant's cards. It definitely is, and we see these last few sales really start to ramp up. This was a $1,650 box. I was recommending them at around $1,700 to my members not too long ago. And the last two sales have come in at $1,950, $3,000. Of course, this $3,000 is a little bit high. I truly believe the true value of this right now is around $2,500. But regardless, I think this box is on its way up. A lot of people are looking in to hold this box for the long term with Ja Morant and see where he can, take his career. And if Ja Morant truly becomes a big superstar in this league, this box can have great value in the long term. So without further ado, we're hopping right into our next pick, and that is Deshaun Watson. Had to be talking about Deshaun Watson because, of course, Deshaun Watson's case, that I'm not, for YouTube purposes, I'm not going to go into detail, but essentially there's a good chance that he is, he will be able to play this year, and he is no longer, in his hot mess, which is great news for his cards. And this card has gone from $70 to $224 thanks to the news. In just around 10 days, this card has jumped almost 3 times its price. So definitely going to keep an eye out on Deshaun's cards. He is an incredible talent, of course. So I think there's going to be a lot of hot demand around Deshaun's cards moving forward. Without further ado, we're hopping into a next pick, and that is Luka Doncic and his 2018 contenders. Now, I put this pick in this video for one specific reason, and that is to show that investors are still looking into young players. However, they are really going for low pop inserts, like really nice low pop autos really is what I'm seeing in the market right now. This is a trend, that I just wanted to address on this channel. I think there's a lot of young players and a lot of people who want to invest in young players, and a lot of people who want to invest in young players are going for base, prism, silvers, optics, and I think the trend of the market in the future is these low pop autos that people aren't looking at. And this was a Luka Doncic that has recently popped off, and you may be saying it's just one sale that's huge, but there has been multiple sales that I have seen at sports card shows. I've seen a good amount of interest in this card, regardless of this one sale. I've seen the great interest around this card, and I think this card is going to do really good long term, along with a lot of other players who have cards that are less mainstream, but are really starting to gain traction. We see that in Jayson Tatum's market, Ja Morant's market. A lot of low pop autos are really doing well right now. One example, I believe, is Tatum's Prism Silver even, which is a quite mainstream autograph. Is doing very well recently, and I think that's really going to be a trend. I don't believe they have it on Card Ladder, but you guys should definitely take a look into Tatum's autographs, in my opinion. All young players' autographs, if you can find some great low pop options, I definitely think they're going to hold great long-term value. Of course, everyone looks at the national treasures to kind of drive the market, but I do see a lot of good trends going on, in Tatum's market, in Morant's market, in Doncic's market. This was a $1,480 card and is currently up to around $1,800, and these are a lot more steady because they're less sales, so I think it's overall better for the seller because you have a little bit more negotiating power, with lower pop cards because there's less people trying to sell buyers the cards. So if a buyer's looking for this card, chances are there's only a few out there on the market. Whereas if a buyer's looking for a Prism base card, you can't get any higher than true market price because there's a million out there. So I really hope you guys enjoy this video. If you guys would like to join into the program, click the link down below to sportscardsinvest.com. But other than that, hope you all have a great day, and I'm out. Peace.